Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to this channel. So guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. Tension in Nigeria as Trump has threatened military action in Nigeria over Christian genocide. Guys, Trump wants to take action on the killings going on in Nigeria since Nigerian government doesn't want to take action. So guys, like I said, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to unpack a dramatic and deeply consequential conflict of international diplomacy, religion, security, and sovereignty. Guys, Donald Trump has issued a public threat, of U.S. military intervention in Nigeria, citing alleged mass killings of Christians in that country. And Nigeria's government is pushing back hard. Guys, what is really going on? Who are the actors? What are the facts on the ground? And what could this mean for Nigeria, for US, Africa relation, for religious freedom, and for global geopolitics? So guys, you're going to know in this live section. So let me take you back a little bit. Donald Trump has actually added Nigeria into the country of the list of the countries of particular concerns, guys. And you know what that means. So we're just hearing this news that Trump is threatening U.S. military action in Nigeria over Christian genocide, terrorism, and geopolitics. Guys, this is currently what is going on. And over the weekend, over the weekend, Donald Trump announced that he had instructed the U.S. Department of Defense to begin planning for potential military operations in Nigeria. He argued that the Nigerian government has failed to protect its Christian population from what he called Islamic terrorists committing heroic atrocities, and warned that U.S. aid will be cut off and that the U.S. could go into Nigeria guns a-blazing to wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Guys, Donald Trump is ready to deploy U.S. militants, guys, to Nigeria to wipe out all these terrorists in Nigeria. Guys, at the same time, Donald Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern under U.S. law, a label reserved for states that engage in or tolerate particular severe violation of religious freedom. Guys, this is a dramatic escalation. So, but the Nigerian government did not take things sitting down. Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration pushed back, rejecting the characterization that Nigeria is persecuting Christians or that Christians are facing an existential threat. Guys, they affirm that Nigeria remains a secular country with protection for all faith. This is what Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration is talking about, guys. This is what he's talking about. Imagine Donald Trump is actually seeing what is going on in Nigeria. This is why he had to come out to take actions on that, guys. So anyways, take a look at what Arise TV, an interview that was conducted in Arise TV concerning what Donald Trump said. Guys, take a look and I'll be right back.
It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, Mr. KK. Thank you so much for joining us on the Sunday morning show this morning. Very Sunday Tonic program.
Good morning,
thank you.
Oji. Good morning, Steve.
Yes.
And good morning, Kashi.
All right, thank you.
I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go straight into it. We will start, as always, with the newspaper of record, This Day on Sunday. And of course, without having to state the obvious, the news of the day is what This Day on Sunday has led with. Not just the lead story, but the second lead to, as we will say, in the newsroom. And it's about the straining relationship between Nigeria and the United States, or more appropriately put, the way that the American president, Mr. Donald Trump, is taking the issue of the perceived attacks and killings in Nigeria. So this day leads with this headline: Trump in tweet threatens military action against terrorists killing Christians in Nigeria. And the two riders orders U.S. Department of War to prepare for possible action, vows to cut economic aid. And the other rider, we're preparing for action, says Exet, who is the Secretary of War. He used to be the Secretary of Defense, or, the Ministry of Defense. The story on top of it, which is the second lead story, It's also about that, but it's about the Nigerian response to what Donald Trump is saying. And the headline says, Nigeria protects citizens of all faiths, will never encourage religious persecution. Tinubu replies Trump. And the Riders rejects designation of Nigeria as country of particular concern. Claims of Christian killings in Nigeria, gross exaggeration, says Onanuga. That's by Onanuga, the presidential spokesperson. To highlight, KK, the importance of this lead story on the cover of this day, and as I said earlier, which is the story of the day, possibly will be the story of the week, given the possible implications. I would like to read to you the headlines as captured by other newspapers, even though you come back to this day in discussing the issue. Is the lead also in Sunday Punch, and it says, Trump to Nigeria, stop the killings or face military action. And there's a quote there that says, I am instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. That's Trump. And then there's another counter, quote from the president, which says the characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality. That's Tinubu, the president. Sunday Sun also leads with the same story. And it says, country of particular concern knocks kudos for Trump. The Riders, Tinubu rejects labeling as shores of Nigeria's religious freedom. Sharia Council, clerics, groups condemn US president's move. Khan seeks action against terrorism financiers. And then what designation means for Nigeria. That's according to diplomats. Tribune also, Tribune didn't lead with it, but it has a very big headline, towards the down part of the cover. Country of particular concern, it says, Tinubu fires back at Trump, says his comment does not reflect reality in Nigeria. We safeguard freedom of religion for all Nigerians, he adds. Ndume Rafsanjani, Arishe Adedipe urge federal government to dialogue with the US. So, KK, those are the other headlines in other papers. But as I said, we're back to this day, which dedicated at least two major headlines to that stories. If we want to have another look at, a look at a few other stories that are there on the cover of this day, like on the window, PDP's leadership crisis deepens as party suspends national secretary, and yeah, with three others. And then on the strip, Zenith Bank others surmount turbulent macroeconomic environment, post 3.58 trillion profit before tax. And last but not the least, the strip towards the end, 2027, Northern Elders, politicians push for United Front, more regional unity summit in early 2026, which is a story on page 10. But undoubtedly, as I said earlier, KK, the story of the day is what this day has dedicated two major headlines to. Trump in tweet threatens military action against terrorists killing Christians in Nigeria, and then the response from the government. Nigeria protects citizens of all faiths, will never encourage religious persecution. Tinubu replies Trump. Where are we, KK? Diplomacy totally broken down? War looming? What can we do? What can the government of Nigeria do now that all fangs are bare?
Yeah. Indeed, Steve, the threat from Washington is the story of the day. And I agree with your projection that maybe it may be the story, for the coming days. Now, just for clarification, the two stories, both President Tinubu's statement and President Trump's tweet, should be taken together. But in terms of sequence,
yes,
the tweet, the tweet of the latest tweet of President Trump came after
the response from the president. After
Tinubu was reacting to the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular interest. Okay. So it was perhaps very late last night that the tweet of President Trump,
so there hasn't been a formal response to the tweet.
Exactly, just for clarification. Yeah. Yep. It's a development that requires a very sober view. That is taking a sober view of things in Nigeria, because it's serious, because we are having the president of the most powerful nation, militarily, and otherwise, issuing this threat. So it is important that a sober view of it should be taken. Two, it will also be helpful to put the development in context. And that's, I agree with you that you asked some questions about what should we do? What should be the response? And I'm saying that the response, will be on two levels. One, the response of the Nigerian government, and also two, the response of the Nigerian people. Now, let's take first the response of the Nigerian government. I think there are two things. First is that it's an issue of diplomacy, because we are talking of relations between two sovereign countries. Yes, America and Nigeria. So the government has the responsibility of responding diplomatically, and that will mean that Nigeria will have to bolster its diplomatic capacity to be able to deal with the matter diplomatically. The other aspect, that is, engagement, the standard engagement. The other aspect is internal, and that is that regardless of the different perspectives that people may have for this, one thing which is the truth, in the whole thing, is that because Nigeria has a problem of insecurity, terrorists, bandits are killing people in Nigeria, Muslims, Christians, adherents of other religions, people who are even non-believers, atheists, agnostics, they are all big. And what is important is that the Nigerian government will have to also bolster its capacity, to stop the killing and make Nigeria a safe place for everybody. That is the bottom line. The bottom line. Now, when I say, that is at level of government, but not at level of people, which is also very important, is that the development should be properly understood. That is the way we react. First, the claim of President Trump, of officially sanctioned, Christian genocide in Nigeria is a lie. It is not true. It is true that citizens, there are killings in Nigeria. Among the people killed are, Christians, Muslims, adherents of other faiths, and just even people who do not believe in any faith. That is to say that the Nigerian state sanctions the sanctions the genocide of any group of people is a lie. And I think it's the responsibility of all Nigerians, to deny that. And that is that it's a movement that calls for national unity. Unity of purpose, on that particular purpose, where we should be united in ensuring that we will challenge the government to ensure that it fulfills its constitutional responsibility, which is the security and welfare of the people and security for everybody. At the same time, we should also be united in not legitimizing this lie that is coming from abroad, that it is not true.
I'm sure that will be a message to those Nigerians either here or abroad who are curiously celebrating.
Exactly, and I'm coming to that. That in doing so, that people should be wary of naivety, you know, of naivety and misunderstanding. Now that Trump is not a savior to anybody, you know, in putting so, that the position of Trump, you know, is not for any altruistic interest of protecting Christian or anybody at all, you know, for that, you know, for that matter. That the risk of it is that this, you know, the promotion of this lie, you know, could provoke a religious, you know, crisis in Nigeria, which we don't need. Why we solve our problem? The second point is that.
What do you think that could possibly happen?
Yes, when you put this binary, you know, analysis, as if Nigeria is divided into two watertight compartments of Muslims and Christians, which is not true. Nigerian populations do not live in watertight compartments of Muslims and Christians. We know that we live in a country whereby even in families, you know, that the husband could be a Christian, the wife could be a Muslim.
Even the first family.
Yeah, exactly. Even the first family. There are families that a brother may be a Christian and the sister will be a Muslim. Yes, I mean that's the reality of Nigeria.
Yes.
That the position of America is based on a deliberate distortion of our reality, and we should not accept it. That is number one. Number two, America is a powerful country. I think it's the most powerful country in the world, no doubt about that. But I dare say, Nigeria is not a colony of America.
No.
Nigeria is not a colony of any other country. No. Nigeria is still a sovereign country. The sovereignty of our country should be defended.
Yeah.
People should be self-respecting enough. Whatever may be, you know, governments will come and go. Like any other administration, the government that is in power, well, the Nigerian state, those are in charge of it now. The board of passage. I mean, they were not there yesterday. They will not be there, you know, forever. You know, but the country will remain. So we should understand that what is at stake now is the sovereignty and the interest of our country. Now, talking about those who are believing that, when Trump says that he's putting the blood of war on this thing, don't forget that the American military-industrial complex, the arms producer, they need market. If there is peace, if there is no war, if there is no war anywhere, why would they sell their arms? You know that. I mean, that's it. I mean,
but Trump has been promoting peace all over the world. Why is he promoting war here?
Now I'm saying that, you know, the same Trump, it was arming Israel, you know, billions of dollars, you know, to kill people in Gaza. Among those people who are victims in Gaza are Palestinian Christians. There's never been a word from America, you know, in solidarity with Palestinian Christians. You know, so if you are talking of Christianity, so I'm just saying that people should shake off the naivety, you know, and should not be deluded, you know, in understanding this. Two, what Nigeria needs now, you know, from a friendly country, which I believe America is to help Nigeria in terms of military capacity to deal with the problem of insecurity, you know, to deal with the challenge, you know. Terrorism.
Trump did that in his first term when Obama denied the Jonathan administration arms and ammunition to fight Boko Haram. It was Trump in his first term who sold all the Tucano jets, you know, every other thing to us. What do you think has changed? What data is he relying on? What information is he getting that seems to appear as if both countries are not on the same page as to what is actually happening here?
That is what I'm making. That yes, that the premise on which is basing his action is wrong. You know, that it is not true, and that is where the diplomacy will come in to get the American government, you know, to understand the true situation. Don't forget that what Trump is doing, you know, is born out of frustration, you know, of what is supporters, you know, the right-wing extremists in America and evangelicals who have been promoting this phantom, you know, Christian genocide in Nigeria, in Ted Cruz, because they could not convince the Congress. Don't forget that Ted Cruz has been pushing this bill, you know, but because they have not made any headway, Trump now has resorted into taking an executive action, you know, which is what he said, but that is doing, you know, is I mean, those who are sending this message, they've not even been able to convince the American Congress and the American public, you know, in
Can I come in
this,
here?
yeah. No, let me just give finish what I'm saying. Now what I'm saying is that what Trump is saying is not going to be in the interest of anybody, and that in viewing this matter, we should look at the interest, you know, of the country. Why we put, you know, our house in order, you know, and that in any case, let us also be guided by history.
Yeah.
America, you know, in this case, I'm not even just limited to because I mean what Trump is doing really is consistent of you know the history of American intervention in countries, you know. So check the record of America in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Libya, and the rest, you know. What Obama, you know, also in his own moment of delusion, yes, in his own moment of delusion, what Libya. He did in Libya. Now is the provenance of what is happening in Sahel today. Yes, no, I mean, so you know, I mean, America goes into a country, it breaks the country, but does not lack, I mean, but lacks the capacity to make it whole again. So we should not allow anybody to come and break our country.
How are you going to prevent that? How are you going to prevent that?
It's the first thing I said. That is that we should put our house in order, that the Nigerian state should rise to the challenge of fulfilling its constitutional responsibility. The Constitution of Nigeria says that it's the duty of the state to ensure the security and welfare of the citizen, and that's why I say that the bottom line is that Nigeria should be kept safe for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless of religion or lack of no religion.
All right,
and finally, that for perspective, because we are doing a review, that readers will also find very interesting the back page of This Day Today. You know,
genocide, selective perception, and framing. And must read for those who need context.
Because for instance, someone does a very blunt that Trump, you know, and some of the other people, you know, use the word genocide glibly. You know, I mean that is a definition of genocide. You know, according to the United Nations Convention. You know. Now, the same United Nations, you know, has designated, what is happening in Gaza, as Gaza. Trump or any has never used it. You know, in fact, they deny it. Before Trump, President Biden said what was happening. Now, the same United Nations, you know, has designated, what is happening in Gaza, as Gaza. Trump or any has never used it. You know, in fact, they deny it. Before Trump, President Biden said what was happening in Gaza was not genocide. The same thing consistent with the American. Trump has never said the killing of over 60,000 people, including women and children, including Palestinian Christians, has never been designated by Trump. So anybody who is looking to Trump as a savior is living in delusion, you know. And I'm saying that this is a time for us to unite as a nation, you know. So we put our house in order and reject any imperialist bully.
All right, your points have been. Yes. No, I mean no, because there are a lot of points that you made, which I absolutely agree with, and which the main point is the Nigerian state has to sit up to protect us. I mean, that's really what the bottom line is. But I'd like to quickly read Trump's statement on Truth Social, and it goes, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, gone a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, it will be vicious and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attacked our cherished Christians, warning the Nigerian government better move fast. And this is the statement. So I don't see any sort of misunderstanding in what he has said at this point, because when you think about the Christians worldwide, when they hear or read this sort of statement coming from the most powerful man in the world, the USA, you will understand that they would seem to be very excited. It will be an exciting news for them. Christians, I just said. Christians worldwide, plus Nigeria, obviously. Because, and I say so because this has been going on for decades. We have seen mass burials. We have seen Christians being killed. We have seen it. We cannot deny that Christians have not been killed in Nigeria. Only yesterday, I watched a video of an evangelist, Dachamo. He went to Plateau State and he wanted to document this video showing a wall where about 500, he went to a mass grave, 500 Nigerian Christians were killed in one day. You ask the question, what has changed? Yeah. Where is the data coming from? Between the first time, where is the data coming from? This evangelist also documented, he has documents to show that Christians are being killed. We cannot deny that fact.
The
and
the more International Religious Freedom in March of this year released,
the data
which suggested data that Nigeria should be designated as country of
particular concern, which has happened now.
In July, they reiterated it.
Yes.
The March thing was global. In July, they now focused on Nigeria.
Yes.
My worry is why we left all these interventions and diplomatic,
2 years after this administration, we have no ambassadors, Steve.
Correct.
No ambassadors to give the sort of narrative that you have just shared here, to provide the sort of data that we need to see, to provide the sort of calm that Christians around the world need to hear. We are seeing data of Christians being killed. Not as much
genocide, though.
Well, the designation, the conversation about whether it amounts to genocide or not is this diplomatic conversation, but there's facts are still there.
Absolutely.
When we talk about that, we have to understand that the world is a global village. We're not alone in this fight. And what the president has charged the Nigerian government is to act fast. If we are in the north, if we are experiencing this sort of killings that these are people from the north central have experienced so far, you will understand their pain. Plateau State, Benue State, Niger State. 2 years ago, the governor of Benue State, Autumn, raise the alarm. We're not the only ones. I mean, it's not only America that is speaking. But if the president is saying that Nigerian government needs to act fast, that is what we should encourage. They have to act fast. Our brothers and sisters, be it Muslims, Christians, cannot keep dying from these terrorists. And if it takes the American government to go kill these terrorists that have been causing this mayhem in Nigeria, that should be what should happen.
Really?
I understand. Hold on.
Really?
There are consequences. There are consequences to war, but we cannot.
Let's be careful what we invite.
No, I'm not inviting. I mean, how are you going to stop it? It's only diplomatic conversation. We have to show we have to show proof. We have to show action. What are you going to do about it?
May just ask this right. I often find it so interesting when we're so passionate about defending who we are as a nation. When we start to see that other people are noticing our inefficiencies. If we're so perturbed by this tagline, how about we start to actually deal with insecurity? How about we tell the U.S. No. It's not a charge.
What is it?
At this point in time,
it
is a matter of emergency. This charge that you call a charge,
that emergency will come from America?
Whether it comes
where has it worked?
That's not the issue. If I may just make my point, right? Wherever it comes from, We discharge, even as journalists, we've been saying this, we've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
And we have been appealing, we have been proffering solution. We have had several security agencies, we have had several people in political positions sit in this chair and tell us what is going to happen. But clearly we've seen none of that. So what I'm saying is, I find it interesting how emotional we are about, this tag of genocide. It's very easy. We can tell the US to go back.
There's genocide going on in
Hold
Nigeria?
on a minute. Do you think? No, Steve. We cannot. Let me land. Let me land. If I may, let me just land.
What we are proposing.
Here's the facts. The fact is, Nigeria is a highly insecure country.
That's correct.
And if the tag of genocide incenses us so deeply, then let us fix our country and make it more secure for the people. We cannot say Christians are not dying. Neither can we say Muslims are not dying. People are dying on a daily basis, and they are dying as a result of situations that could also lead to a genocide. So it's not a matter of defending our stance on who we are. It is a matter of saying to the US, listen, we know our issues. We can do this and actually do it.
All right.
Fantastic.
Unfortunately, we have very little time but we have to take this day style. We have to, because it's.
But just before it is important, given what KK has said, because we haven't allowed him to respond, but we don't have time.
Yes.
Yes, people are dying, and we charge our government again.
Yes.
I'm not tired of charging.
Okay.
That is what we do as journalists. That is what we do as journalists. And in doing that, let us remember Libya.
So, guys, still on this, the fact that Trump want to deploy military men, U.S. military men to Nigeria if Nigerian government wants to wipe out terrorists buying the Christians in Nigeria. So, guys, I also want to tell you guys the 10 likely consequences of Trump's threats, guys. If U.S. Army invades Nigeria, this is the 10 likely consequences of Trump's threats. So now the world is still reeling from U.S. President Trump's explosive post on Truth Social, where he warned that the United States could go into Nigeria guns are blazing if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians. Trump's comments, which included an instruction to the Department of War to prepare for possible military actions, have triggered outrage, fear, and fiery debates, guys, across Nigeria's social media platforms. While many Nigerians dismissed the post as political grandstanding, others wondered aloud, they're saying, what if the US military actually intervened? A review of past American interventions in Iraq, Libya, and other places provides sobering clues. Experts and analysts warn that if Trump threats ever materialized, the fallout could be catastrophic for Africa's largest democracy. So some people are saying that if Trump's actually invade Nigeria, it's going to be a catastrophic. So below are the 10, these are the consequences if Trump intervenes in Nigeria, if the US military were to launch an operation in Nigeria. Now, number one is civilian casualties and mass displacement. So these are the things that will happen if this actually take effect. Analyst says a US military strike, however targeted, would likely result in a high civilian casualties. Past operation in Iraq and other countries saw extensive collateral damage, with entire towns displaced in states like Benue, Plateau, and Taraba, already scarred by years of violence. So the humanitarian cost could be devastating, guys. So another thing is security, the breakdown of state authority. Security experts fear Nigerians already stretched institution could collapse under the weight of foreign borderments, guys. So even brief air campaigns tends to dismantle local governance structures. A defense analyst said once power vacuums appear, warlords and militias take over, as seen in Libya after 2011. So another consequences is rise of new insurgencies. Military intervention rarely ends extremism. In fact, it often multiplies it. Survivors of foreign strikes in Iraq and Syria later joined radical groups seeking revenge. Nigerian terror networks. Analysts actually warn that this could splinter, reorganize, and resurface under new ones. So people are arguing that this could cause another world war in Nigeria. So another consequences is humanitarian and health crisis. An invasion would likely destroy key infrastructure, including hospital and supply chains. The UN and Red Cross might struggle to access conflict zones, leading to food shortage, disease outbreak, and a surge in internal displaced persons. Guys, what do you think about this? Do you think this war is actually going to cause more casualties, affect lives and properties? Or do you think it will just majorly affect these terrorists in Nigeria that are buying people? Because for decades we have been hearing reports, even in the church, you guys know what happened in Ondo States, guys. They came and wiped away, guys, over 50 of them by that day in church. Just like people come for their normal service, in the morning, guys, that was where they met their deaths, guys. These guys invaded the church and by them blood flew, blood everywhere in the church, guys. So see, you can see that in this country you cannot just drink water and drop your cup, guys. A lot of killings going on in this country. So enough is enough. Trump has said no, that if this doesn't stop, there's going to deploy military men to come and do the work for Nigerian government, since they are not ready. The military in Nigeria, the Nigerian military, they're not ready to wipe away these terrorists. So let them do it by themselves. Enough is enough. So the another consequence that might happen is, like I said, it might cause a surge in internally displaced persons, disease outbreak leading to food shortage, and etc. Guys, so that is the consequences. Remember, I'm telling you guys the consequences of this decision by Trump if Nigerian government refuse to fight these terrorists in Nigeria. So international law experts knows that a unilateral strike on a sovereign African nation could provoke global condemnation. The African Union and ECOWAS would almost certainly denounce the move, potentially triggering sanction and anti-American protests across the continent. So another one is economic shock and inflation. Of course, with US force in the air, oil production in the Niger Delta would halt, the naira would plunk, foreign investment would evaporate, and millions could lose their job. Trump has already threatened to immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria, a move that would cripple humanitarian and education programs dependent on US funding. And then another thing that might happen is sectarian and political polarization, because Trump's statements frame the conflict as a defense of Christians. Observers fear the message could inflame religious division. Communities in Plateau, Benue, Kaduna, and Taraba, already on edge, might interpret the threat along sectarian lines, leading to reprisal and more bloodshed. Guys, you guys know what reprisal attack mean? So this might be like a war against Christian, or making it to be like a religious war. So another one is erosion of Nigeria's military credibility. Foreign intervention could undermine public confidence in the Nigerian armed force. If the foreign power steps in, it signals failure. A retired general told Sunday Punch that it would destroy morale and weaken Nigerians' regional influence. So if Nigerian government know what is good, they should, fight these terrorists, wipe away these terrorists. That's the only thing that can, stop Trump from, because Trump has said it in social truth or truth social. He said that if Nigerian government doesn't fight these bad guys or wipe away these bad guys, that's going to come in, that they're going to step in and wipe them out by themselves. And this could lead to different consequences. You know what that means? Because enough is enough. So another thing that might happen is prolonged foreign occupation. What begins as fast strike as Trump promised could involve in 2 years of occupation and instability. The US spent 2 years, 2 decades in some countries with little to show for it. Experts fear Nigeria could face the same fate if boots ever hit the ground. So another thing that might happen is global power realignment. An American invasion would invite counter move from revival powers like Russia and China, both of which have growing interest in West Africa. Nigeria could become a new front in global power politics with devastating consequences for its sovereign and peace. So these are the things that might likely happen if Trump's decision come into reality. So guys, what do you think about this? Do you think if this decision come into reality, that it will just target the terrorists and wipe them all, or do you think it's going to affect citizens, I mean civilians, causing more casualties, causing more problem? What do you think about it? Do you think this, if military men actually involve, or US military men invade Nigeria, do you think it's going to stop the terrorists from attack? Do you think it's going to wipe away these terrorists, or do you think it won't? Because there's record that this people, it actually worsens the situation, that they will join more groups and plan reprisal attack on Christian, causing more bloodshed. Let me know what you think about this under the comment section. Sure, guys, drop a comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video for more information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.